Good afternoon. This is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates on August 19th, 2022. Taking a look at the system that's coming over the weekend and then a look on down the road as well. So, as I get started here, I do want to remind you I'm going to put this video out and release it to the social media pages as well. And I'll do this periodically to kind of give a sample of what you're getting on Patreon. And actually, there are even better things that are still coming, things that are still in the works. I'm only just beginning on this. So, if you're not following the Patreon, right now we have 16 patrons. Hopefully, that goes up quite a bit here soon. That's in addition to about 38, I believe. I just checked on my Stripe account, the repeat donors. So we're doing okay. We're getting up above 50 anyway. So all told, although some of those there's a little bit of overlap. But at any rate, um, definitely check out the Patreon. I'll put the link in the post. And also, you'll be able to get to it from the link to this video when I post to the social media as well. And again, come to Patreon, become a patron. You have bronze patrons at $3 a month, silver at $10, and gold at $20. Right now, I have some different things that are listed that you'll get at different tiers, but I need to get more patrons before it makes any sense to start dividing it. So right now, all the patrons are getting all the same thing, but ultimately you're going to get more as a silver patron and even more as a gold patron as this all develops. So with that said, let's dig into what we got coming up. So here's a look at the College of DuPage. We're looking at regional satellite radar combo. You can see our upper level low spinning up here. It's got some precipitation kind of on the southern edge of the low. You can also see the front that is kind of pushing out ahead of itself, and precipitation is pretty sporadic along it. And really, right now, the best precipitation is falling on the east-west part of the front. And the same way with the low pressure, the part that's kind of aligned more, east to west or west to east, whichever way, seems to be what's picking up the most precipitation at this moment. This will slowly work its way in here tomorrow. I still think the majority of tomorrow is going to be dry, but as this moves in, as it drops south, it's going to have access to better moisture. So we expect things to fill in some, but it's still going to be intermittent. So it's not going to just be a constant all day rain. Yeah, it's going to be, periods where it rains. Maybe it's just light rain, or maybe you get under a cell that's a little heavier, but it's just going to be intermittent. Take a look here at the Nand 3K model. Again, not forecasted by the models, but the visualization is always helpful. And I think the Nand 3K might be a little underdone, and the GFS might be a little overdone. So we'll take a look at those. Here we are at 5 a.m. in the morning. It's got the timestamp over here, but it's in Central Time, so we need to add an hour to what we got. Anyway, so as we progress through the tomorrow morning into tomorrow afternoon, you can just kind of see these, kind of pop-up cells. They could randomly pop up anywhere. Most of us are probably going to stay dry tomorrow. But tomorrow afternoon and evening, just these cells are kind of going to pop up as this little arm right here off of the low begins to move through. So the question becomes, how much of this is going to pick up moisture for precipitation? Again, it's been pretty intermittent, so we'll just have to wait and see. There's no way to know for sure. But we'll just have these intermittent cells throughout the afternoon and evening hours, and then we may begin to pick up a little bit better precipitation as the low pressure starts to track in. Again, I think this might be underdone, but nonetheless, this is around 2 a.m. Sunday morning as the low pressure tracks across. Again, the thing that's really has changed over the last couple of days is at one point it looked like maybe the low was going to dip farther to our southwest and then move northeast, and it was kind of keep us under the influence of the low for a couple of days. But now it's looking like it's just going to dive off to the southeast and get out of here pretty quickly. So and then we take a look again The NAM 3K by Sunday afternoon has most of the precipitation over in Ohio. Again, I think it's probably underdone for Sunday, but I wanted to show you that anyway. We'll take a look at a couple other models as we go over here to take a look at the GFS. Again, the GFS is probably overdone, so we're kind of going from one extreme to the other. But as we get into tomorrow evening, the GFS really blows up a lot of precipitation. Again, these global models paint with a broad brush because their resolution isn't as high. But nonetheless, it's showing pretty decent precipitation chances beginning tomorrow evening. And then as we move on into overnight Sunday night into early, this is by 8 o'clock Sunday morning. And then it keeps the precipitation around a good chunk of the day on Sunday. I think this is a little better. Again, it's not going to be this widespread, but I think the coverage is going to be higher than what the NAM 3K had. It's going to be less than what this has. We'll take a look at the European here in a second too. And then it likewise scoots a low on off to the east, and Monday is largely dry with just some little pop-ups. And even though it's not really modeled much, I do think during the week, we're going to just each day we can't totally rule out just some random pop-ups. Even though most of the week is probably going to be dry, but just can't rule out the random pop-up. And we'll take a look at the European as well. And again, as we're into this is into tomorrow morning, we're getting into tomorrow afternoon. Kind of got the pop-up nature. Again, painting with a broad brush, but kind of the pop-up nature of the storms tomorrow afternoon. Most of us, again, probably stay dry. And then as we move on into tomorrow evening and then on into the overnight, it's more aggressive than what the NAM 3K is, less aggressive than the GFS. And I think none of these should be taken verbatim, but the Euro probably has a decent idea. Again, it fills in afternoon convection Sunday. That's probably going to be our best widespread rainfall chance. Will be Sunday in the heat of the day if we're going to develop any kind of widespread rainfall. That's just remains to be seen. These lows are very unpredictable, especially with the track it has. I'd have more confidence if it had started southwest and moved northeast, where it had time to pick up moisture, but instead it's coming out of Canada and dropping into the moisture. So it's just a matter of how quickly it can fill itself in. Then it likewise scoots the precipitation out of here on Monday. It does linger that low. I kind of agree with this again, that just something pop up on Monday, we can't rule it out. And then before it finally moves that low pressure on. So that's a look at the weekend storms. Again, it's going to be hit or miss. There's no guarantee that. I think it's pretty certain we're all going to get some rain. It's just a matter of how much and where. That can't really be ironed out at all because it's just going to be so intermittent. I still expect widespread ½ inch to an inch in Madison County. I think if most of us are going to be out one side or the other, it's probably going to be out the low side. So it may be that most of us end up maybe in a quarter to ½ inch or so. Again, it's going to be kind of have not kind of thing. Some people are going to get 1/10 of an inch. Some people are going to get 1.5 inches. And then most of us are going to be somewhere in between. Wish I could be more specific than that, but I really can't. It's just the nature of the game. So then, just a little bit of a look farther down the road. Again, I still expect, by the time we're hitting next weekend, let's just go ahead and go to the 7-day forecast here. Here's a 7-day that's going to be put out here in a little bit. I'm not foreseeing changing anything. I have warm Monday up because I've been discussing sunshine would make a big difference on the temperatures. I think we're still going to have some lingering cloud cover around with that low pressure to our east, but we'll be close to 80, a little bit either side of 80 degrees, both Sunday and Monday. And then we'll begin to warm up during the week. Again, just these very isolated storm chances each day. Can't rule it out any day. By the time we're getting to the end of next week, Thursday, Friday, we're going to be in the mid, maybe upper 80s as we've discussed. That'll probably linger into next weekend ahead of the next storm system. I still expect that we're going to see a cool down for a couple of days, maybe 3 days or so to close August and start September. And then we'll begin to watch heat build in that first week of September, maybe especially toward the end of the first week of September. If we're going to hit 90 degrees again, that's probably when it's going to happen. So we'll continue to monitor that as it gets closer. It's still way off in the long range, but those are my thoughts at the moment. And again, we'll continue to monitor what happens over the weekend. And again, if you're not a patron, you can't see it over here to my left, but I'm down here in the Anderson TV studio. I've been talking to them. They've been helping me out. And there is a green screen that's sitting over here to my left. I'm going to be working on some things to incorporate the green screen so I can point to things instead of you having to try to see where my cursor is, or me using some sort of drawing tools that maybe don't translate well. I'm going to try to see if we can get things going where I can use this green screen, be able to point things out a little better, make things look better. And it won't look good because of me, but the graphics will look good. So at any rate, there exciting things are coming. I'm going to keep trying to make this better, make it more appealing, hopefully get more patrons and keep this page going, save it, make it get even better, because the more that you guys put into it, the more I can put into it as well. And we can maybe start making things look a little more professional and have some fun with this. So again, come on over to the Patreon, become a patron. I'll start at the beginning of the week kicking out emails to those of you who subscribe through the website, or are donors through Venmo, PayPal, the other sources that I have listed on the pinned posts on the Facebook and Twitter pages. Pay any way that you want to do it. It's easier for me to keep track of here on Patreon, but I will email to repeat donors and to those of you who are monthly subscribers. Either way, you're going to get this content. As a whole, it's going to be patron only or donor only. So if you like what you're seeing and you're excited for what's coming, and you should be because it's going to get better, definitely become either a patron or a subscriber through madcoweather.com. So with all that said, this is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. Thank you all as always.